We're doing it live!
We're doing it live.
Born free as the wind blows.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nameless fighting game show episode. I don't know what episode it is. Probably episode 6, maybe.
We'll go with episode 6, maybe.
Yeah, it's episode 6, maybe. It probably isn't. It probably isn't. I have no idea. So we got a lot to talk about. There's loads of stuff's happened this week. So we're just gonna blag it and just like it's just all been happening really quickly. And by the time this episode comes out, I'm sure there'll be 10,000 other leaks.
Do you want to explain to the Americans what blagging is?
Blagging. Winging it? Winging it?
Oh, okay. Now we're caught up with you. All right, proceed.
I might be wrong, actually. I'm not sure if I'm using that term right. I get
well, let's wing it.
I think, yeah. All right, let's wing it. So big news week. First of all, what we should say is NCR. We did our little competition, didn't we? Top 8, and one of us won that one.
And we both got 3 in the top 8, which was cool. And then we're like, well, what do we do now? And we decided on the sidelines, just quick decision, audible, that we would, whoever got the farthest with one of their competitors would win the whole thing. And I had Knuckle Do, and it was great because he made it into grand finals in the winner's side. And then somehow your stupid punk, he won, I guess, and now I have to wear your dumb shirt.
I went and talked to Punk. Because I was at
See, that's not fair. You got this unfair advantage. You get to go coach the players on the sideline.
I was at NCR and I went up to Punk and I said, you got to win it because we changed the rules. And he said, I thought it was a top 8 thing. And I was like, wait, how do you know this stuff, Punk? But
Punk reads him some event hubs.
I don't know. I guess so. But basically, he came through for me. So East Coast came through.
Stupid East Coast. Well, on that subject, I have to...
What is that, 2-0? You went 0 and 2?
2-0.
You went 0 and 2?
Hey, man, that's what it feels like to be you. Now I know. I'm glad now I can relate to you a little bit.
Yes, of course.
Did you play at all at NCR?
Nah.
You were busy doing interviews, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but I did 8 fucking interviews.
No, I know. We talk about it. So I gotta say, bragging rights.
Well, I have bragging rights, but you've well, first of all,
I wasn't talking about you. I don't care about your bragging rights.
No, but
you can tell the world all about it.
I care about the fact that you have to wear my shirt.
Yeah, I will wear your shirt as soon as it comes in. I will wear it every single day.
Okay, good. All right, bragging rights.
At least for our next video.
Bragging rights on event hubs.
Yes, that goes to AshleySchaferBMW, and it was a tie. Riku157. Now I said that I would just give it to whoever posted a valid, guess first. But then I was thinking about it like that's dumb. It should be whoever does the best. And both of these people got 5 of the top 8 correct. One of them had voted Bonchan, which not many other people did because Bonchan hadn't been doing good up until NCR. So hey, kudos to you. But those 2 currently have event hubs bragging rights. And yeah,
Bonchan literally walked out of my interview with him because he was almost being held up by me. He walked out of my interview, complained about Boxer, went downstairs and beat PR Balrog with Nash.
That's so poetic. I love it.
It was crazy weekend. So let's talk about the patch delay because shortly after NCR. Capcom delayed the patch, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
I know you have some thoughts about this. I think the biggest question is sort of like, is this a good sign or a bad sign?
Well, okay. I think the knee-jerk reaction that everyone has because of the way everyone thinks and talks about Street Fighter V is, oh great, yet another thing that Capcom hasn't done right. And I actually was talking to some of my coworkers today, and we're like, what is there a thing in Street Fighter V's life thus far that has gone the way it was supposed to without any blemish? And we were sitting there thinking for a while, we're like, well, Akuma, people didn't hate Akuma or think he was broken or too bad or anything like that. But the fact that we were even having that conversation kind of says something. So in that respect, it's yet another thing that Street Fighter V, another hiccup, another pothole that we're running over in the road. So that kind of sucks. But looking around at the way people are reacting to it in comment sections and social media and whatnot, and even the way they've been talking about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, they're looking back at the way Street Fighter V was launched and the abysmal muck that was the SF5 launch, and they're going, I'd rather have something that works when we get it as opposed to something that's rushed. You know what, Capcom, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Fine. We've waited this long. We'll wait a little bit longer. I just want a quality product whenever this thing rolls out. So we got a patch or an update just yesterday. It came out with a stage that had religious problems with it, and even that didn't go well. But we're waiting for this next update patch for the balance changes, and hopefully it turns out to be a good thing. I think the community overall is willing to wait.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think that they're going to make further balance adjustments?
That's what's rolling around in my mind. The proposed changes were meh. There were some really good ones, and they were adding whole new moves. But those changes, like, we saw them in the beta, right? And so we're like, they must be pretty far along. So we wonder, and I don't begin to assume that I know all the intricacies that go into balancing a game and changing all the things that you have to change, but it seemed like things were pretty close already to what they needed to be in order for them to roll this whole thing out. And so what I'm wondering is, there was a certain interviewer going around, you know, at NCR and stuff, getting opinions from top players and such, and a lot of those were pretty blatantly negative about the game. And I wonder if, well, I mean, do you think that possibly with, you know, people like Bonchan going in and saying what he said could have had some effect on Capcom, something along those lines?
I mean, the Bonchan interview. So, like, the Bonchan interview has 50,000 views, right? It made it around the world, and there's a lot of Japanese comments on there. And I've had feedback that the Japanese FGC has seen it, and they were, you know, whatever. The point is, Bonchan, I feel, is a very respected Japanese player, and he was talking directly to the Japanese devs in Japanese, and for all of Japan, you know, the Japan FGC to see, which is pretty powerful stuff, I think. You know, it's a little bit different from getting sort of secondhand feedback via a memo sent from Capcom USA to Capcom Japan or whatever, right? Yeah. You know, that's admirable, and I think that's great, you know, that they do that. But I think they're, I don't know. It's possible that it's possible. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? But I think those devs will have seen that interview, and I do think that it will have. It's possible it may have had some effect. I hope it has some positive effect. The interviews I did, you know. I didn't actually think. I'll be honest with you. I didn't actually think they were all that super negative. That wasn't the plan at all. That was so not the plan at all. The plan was just you know, get some really good input on the game and where it's going and how do you feel about it, and I wasn't expecting everybody to actually be so sort of honest and candid and open, which was amazing. And there's a lot of people who are very positive about the game, I think. And there was some, you know, I expect my next round of interviews, I sort of have in my head who I'm going to interview, and I expect them all to be pretty positive about the game. But yeah, I think that Bonchan interview, it's like 50,000 views, man. Like, it's like him speaking in Japanese to the Japanese devs directly, very harshly. And it does make you wonder.
I will say that when I first heard the patch was delayed, first I did go with the knee-jerk, oh great, you know, another thing wrong with SF5. But my very next thought was, maybe with all of the conversation that's been going on, they're saying, okay, we need to do a little bit more to characters like Balrog, we need to pay a little more attention.
Yeah, like a timeout. I feel like it's like this. I feel like it's like, oh, gee, look, all right, you know what? Timeout. Because I feel like there was pressure to have the right balance for this CPT. And then I think at some point they went, well, if we're going to do a 2.1, we've done the beta, maybe it's not quite there yet.
And you know what? I think I speak for most of the FGC when I say if that's where they're at and they are listening to people and they are trying to give us that product and they're doing it in a way where they're there was a whole problem in season 1. The community felt like Capcom wasn't listening. If this is going to come out and it's a statement that Capcom was listening to us, oh my gosh, that would do wonders for Street Fighter V and its status in the public eye overall.
It'd be great.
Yeah, so I feel like I speak for most of the community when I say that if that's what's going on, we are more than willing to wait. I just want a game that's I mean, it's not a bad game. I'm sorry, I keep saying all these negative things. It's not bad. I enjoy playing it as it is right now. There are just very obvious things that if tweaked a little bit would make the whole thing better, and I hope that that's what Capcom's doing.
Well, I mean, like Bonchan was pretty savage, but he was basically talking, when you take the savagery out of it, his point was like the balancing, he felt like the balancing wasn't being done as smartly as potentially it could be. Yeah. You know, and then when I had someone, one of my last interviews was with somebody, somebody a lot more civil, and that was XSK Samurai, who's, a very cerebral player. And one of his statements was, if you took, and he studies the game, he's a scientist, and he said, like, if you took Season 1 Ryu now and put him in the game now, he wouldn't, like, in his eyes, he probably wouldn't be top 5, right? Which was extraordinary to me, and really said something about the balancing. Because what Bonchan was saying was, what you've done is you've taken like the really high tier and you've gone like this with them. You've taken the mid tier and gone like this with them, and so now they're like this. So your Ryu, your Chun-Li, of this world are all down here, right? And what Bonchan felt like was all you needed to do was just go like this, and everybody would be up here, right? Everybody, you would sort of have them all roughly the same level, which is kind of interesting.
Well, but I agree that it's better to buff than to nerf most of the time. But like with Mika and the way she was the robbery character of Season 1, and then they added like a couple more for Season 2 and got rid of her as her status as such. But there were certain things like Chun-Li's lightning legs, air lightning legs being plus, like that didn't need to be there, And I thought that Ryu, with a lot of his stuff in Season 1, his damage output was insane with V-trigger combos, and it wasn't as bad as things could be now, but there were just little things. Mika getting the corner for free, that was all that needed to go from her, really. And then like Chun having plus air lightning legs, that was the only thing. Things that were absolutely breaking these characters. But they just, like you said, nerfed them into the ground, and now they're amongst the worst in the game. So yeah.
Long story short, right? I think what we're saying is, take your time, Capcom.
Yes.
Take your time. We play the game as it is right now. I'm not even sure we've all given Season 2. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like maybe we should give it more of a chance. Like just.
Well, we're adjusting and adapting. That happens. Yeah, but hey, man, it's 2017. We know that patches can happen. We're gonna sit here and whine and bitch and complain until we get what we think we want.
Yeah, we could talk about it forever. That's like the meta of the meta of the meta now, which is like bitching and whining or underplaying your character or overplaying a character or whatever, right? So
one of the main reasons I do not envy those that have to balance this, because they got to wade through all the self-esteem issues that people are motivated in saying that their characters suck or that other characters are too strong.
I think they actually go by, a lot of the time they go by the data, to be perfectly honest. But they definitely take a lot of the feedback. But I still find the Ryu nerfing extraordinary from a marketing perspective. I just think it's weird, but whatever. Yeah. Especially since you're trying to sell like all these Ryu costumes, it's like, well, no one's playing them anymore. But maybe they
made those two the worst. Chun-Li and Ryu are like amongst the worst in the game.
It's like, it's kind of weird. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about some of the news this week. I want to talk about Ed. Because I'm like super psyched. Like 1 minute, like this is what thing about Street Fighter, right? It's like, I love it, and I have my critiques of it, and then we all do, and we all play it, and then as far as like DLC goes, I have a lot of things to say about DLC, and a lot of it feels like a bit of a cash grab, and it annoys me. But of all the new characters that they could possibly bring out, Ed for me is the one that I wanted, and
yeah, absolutely. Like even in the story, like that was a character that stood out. He's so mysterious with that hood, and like he's apparently got some weird psycho power, and he's palling around with Balrog.
You actually have to go back to Street Fighter 4, and that's why I love it, because it's a continuation of something. So I was always excited to see Ed. I was excited to see him in general story mode. I was excited to see him in the smaller story modes when I saw him, because he was the one sort of end story that a lot of us who, you know, kind of care a little bit about the story were very intrigued by. It was like that one ending with Balrog, who had this kid who had like the, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's...
Are you talking about Street Fighter 4?
I'm talking about Street Fighter 4. So
like he was in the ending for Street Fighter 4? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, he was. So basically, he was in the ending of Street Fighter. He was the only decent ending. Like, not the only decent ending. The endings were whatever. They were what they were. They all kind of just didn't correspond with each other, and they were just for every character. But like the Balrog one was the one that which was left you with mystery. It was like, so Balrog, you know, the Seth laboratories are all broken down, all that sort of stuff, right? And Balrog goes in there in search of something valuable.
It's like a limp body of a kid or something like that, and he carries him out?
Yeah, it's just a little kid.
Oh, I do remember
bandages,
that. Yeah.
And the kid is like, help me, and Balrog's like, got that crazy voice, I can't even do it, but he's just like, hey, can you do anything?
That's the perfect. Why don't you voice Balrog? Stop what you're doing.
Because I've been watching it. I've been watching it recently, right? So he's like, you ain't even worth anything. And then the kid like basically puts his hand out, and you see the Shadowloo symbol appear in his hand, and Balrog is like, well, you must be a spare body for M. Bison, so maybe you're worth something. So he just picks him up and walks off with him. And
or it's Balrog's illegitimate son, and he's turning over a new leaf and raising him.
maybe.
No, that's totally not.
Yeah, you shouldn't write stories. I mean,
this is a joke story, dick.
You shouldn't write Street Fighter lore stories. There's a lot of people who shouldn't write Street Fighter lore stories.
You're not making it better now. Just continue.
Anyway, so he picked up this kid, and so a lot of people were always like, well, they talked about it for a long time. I remember, like on some of the forums that I went to, at least, like not the super competitive frame data hitbox forums, but like there were other forums where people talk about Street Fighter and the lore and the stories and that sort of stuff, and everybody was very intrigued by this kid. And then all of a sudden he pops up in Street Fighter 5, and I thought, oh, thank God, Capcom care. They're listening. There's some continuity. That's brilliant. And now it looks like, based on the PSN store leak, Ed is going to be playable, right? Mm-hmm. And I just think that's awesome. Like of all the new characters, like I thought Colin was going to be kind of cool, but like Ed, I was looking at the silhouettes and I was like, oh my God, none of these look like Ed. If they don't bring out Ed as one of the new characters, I give up. Like I literally, in my head, I had this vision of me just throwing papers up in the air. You know that give up, like it's like a meme. Like I give up. You know, like throw the papers up in the air and just walk off. Right? Like that's how I felt. Like if we got through the 5 characters that were new and Ed wasn't one of those characters, I would be like, fuck this. I give up. I just no, I can't. I just can't.
That's how I feel about Byron Taylor. If they don't include Byron Taylor as one of the DLC characters.
That's because you like camo. That's because you love camo pants. You know, somebody was talking about saying his V skill. They said his V skill, but I think it should be his taunt, right? They said his V skill should be like he squats and gives you 20, right? So like he does 20 presses, he does 20 push-ups, right? But wouldn't that be the amazing best taunt ever? Like the best taunt ever, 20 push-ups, right? While they're dizzy or some shit, just 20 push-ups, be amazing. That would sell that character to me in a whole.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. You're so right. Can you imagine the way taunts and stuff? It's like a whole. They need to be giving these characters tournament level taunts.
Yeah, absolutely. I use Akuma's taunt all the time. Whenever I have somebody dizzy, I use it because you can combo off it. So I use it as much as I can. But the hitbox on it is really weird. So sometimes, and it takes ages, by the way. So sometimes I'll do the taunt, and it won't, and I'll be standing right next to him, and I'll ground pound, and it won't hit him, and he'll come out of the taunt and just mess me up. And to be honest, it's usually Mika. For some reason, Mika players come out of their stun really quickly. For some, I don't know what it is.
Mika players are constantly just pushing all the buttons at all times.
That's what it is.
So they're already ready for stuff.
That's what it is. I have a mental image in my mind of what every single player looks like, and I have to say the Ken players, like I always imagine them to be like. I hate scrubby Kens. I hate scrubby Kens. I like good Kens, like people who like Momochi, Chris T, like good Kens who know what they're doing, that's great. But like the scrubby Kens online, the online Kens kill me because with the lag, every DP.
We've all been there, and it's not just Street Fighter 5. That's all Street Fighters ever. It's been a thing with Ken.
Every DP is invincible. Wake up DPs are invincible when they're not supposed to be. But whatever. Anyway, I'm super excited about Ed. I think that I don't know if you must have seen a little bit of him. I know you don't really care about the story, but like he basically has psycho power. He has telekinesis.
I remember him from the Street Fighter 5 story. Absolutely.
Right. So he has telekinesis.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Well, it's like psycho power is what it looks like.
Well, it is psycho power, but like what you actually see is him being able to like move stuff. You know, like he can. Yeah, psychopath. He can essentially like he can affect people. He can touch people. He can hurt people. He can push them away.
So you think he's going to be kind of rosy, or because he's such a scrawny and small character,
right.
So it's like he's going to fit more of like a Cammy build. But I don't see him being this high flying acrobatic character, especially if he's got psycho power. So I'm trying to place like how he's going to play.
Some people
and it's
So I think there will be an element of sort of telekinesis, right? Which I personally think is going to be a little bit like they do it in Mortal Kombat as well. I forget.
Kenshi?
Huh?
Kenshi, where he like zones you out with everything.
Yeah, is it Kenshi? I can't remember, but they have some characters who can sort of do that, lift you up in the air and throw you down or whatever. Right?
Yeah, Ermac and Kenshi.
Ermac. That's the one. Ermac can like lift you up and put you down, right? And I imagine it a little bit like the way you would get caught is a little bit like a ground pound. So it would be like there's a specific area, like does a move, and like if you're in that area, whether you're either in the air or on the ground or something, you get caught, and that's like a telekinesis move.
So the psychic zoner, you know, that's become a kind of an archetype for characters in fighting games, especially probably because of like Ermac and Kenshi and company. And we don't really have that in Street Fighter 5. So if they're trying to do new stuff, I mean, that makes the most sense to me thus far.
There's that, and then I think it could be a little bit of boxing in there. A lot of people have been saying boxing as well because of Balrog, because Balrog found him. And like, did Balrog train him? And he kind of looks like a boxer, or he looks like Eminem. But he has like the hood. He's called Ed. You know, they called him Ed in Street Fighter 5. He didn't have a name in Street Fighter 4. Balrog found him. They called him Ed. So Eduardo, I do think it's named after Eduardo, possibly.
Could be. That's what everyone thought, right? When he said it. You know?
I mean, it's found by Balrog, like so it could be. You know, which I find funny because Peter, who Combo Fiend, who worked on it, like everyone's like Peter's the cop.
Yep.
And Eduardo's like the fucking this cool ass character. Well, potentially could be a cool ass character, but I think the character's gonna have a bit of a cocky swagger. Well, he already has a cocky swagger, a little bit like Cody. Like, hopefully, he's gonna have like this element of like almost everything is effortless because he's so powerful.
Yeah, being so small in stature, I would figure he'd be fast. But if he's zoning and stuff, I don't think that he's gonna zip around so much. So I don't know, but yeah, I can see him, just like pushing people away and putting up, like these telekinesis walls and stuff, and maybe having like a fireball. But I mean, yeah, it's really seeing Ed, and I don't know if they meant to. I guess they didn't. I think that the description on the PS Store has since been taken down. At least I've heard. I haven't checked myself, but it seems like that was very encouraging for a lot of the community because everyone expected it to be Taylor, and a lot of people weren't hyped for Taylor. But Ed is so mysterious, like we've been talking about. So I think that this is a great move. If it has to be all new characters, no Sagat, no Sakura, stuff like that, then Ed is a good choice. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think the rest of the community is too. So good on Capcom for accidentally letting Ed slip, maybe. But I'm hoping for good things.
Somebody wrote in the comments, I think it was on my YouTube channel, somebody wrote psychic turnaround punch.
Great.
So I just thought it was kind of funny. Alright, so let's talk about the recent Street Fighter DLC, because there's so much of it right now, right? And, I mean, I sort of want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, in a way. There's a lot of it, and some of it is good, but clearly there are some complaints. I think the biggest complaint is like Chun-Li has 1,000 costumes and nobody else.
I'm gonna do a story soon here once all this Marvel news and stuff dies down, just comparing how many costumes each Street Fighter V character has at this point. I think Chun and Ryu have 7 off the top of my head, while other characters have like 3.
It's very interesting that they nerf those characters so hard, and yet they're selling all these costumes, and I don't know, dude. I guess maybe the data says that people at a certain level all just play Chun-Li and Ryu.
Nah, it could be. Ryu's still the most popular, or the second most popular last month.
I still run into a lot of Ryus. Yeah.
Yeah, even though he's not amazing, but so yeah, I mean they probably know what they're doing with a little more information than we have, just speculating. But still, like, I would love to see the opportunities for all of these different characters and what you could do with them, and like the cool things, and the community wanting like nostalgia costumes for Alex and Ibuki and things like that, and they're just totally like, well, but Chun-Li needs 10 more costumes first, and then we'll talk about.
I think, you know, I will say, like, out of what I've seen so far, some of the new colors are very interesting. They have like a sort of a Chun-Li Morrigan mix, which is very interesting. They have like a Cammy Cyclops mix, which is kind of interesting. There's loads of crazy new colors. You know, what it is they've got colors 11 to 15 for battle and story mode, which is kind of interesting. And I do think the new Ryu school uniform is amazing. It's
the one with when he has the little twig in his mouth.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. I didn't think much of it until I actually played somebody the other night, and I was like, oh god, that is sick. And then I was lucky enough to be able to download the Bison stage, right? Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful. It's really,
I got it too.
Oh, you got it too? It's so beautiful, right?
Like, I like the music.
The music. No, I mean like the right. The prayers, the.
Well, that's gone now. It's just Bison's theme from Street Fighter V.
I haven't played it since, but like
spoilers.
I got a text message from one of my Muslim friends immediately saying, he brought my attention to it. He said like there's some quotes from the Quran in there, which is not.
You know what I thought was weird is that in the Brazil stage, it's in Rio de Janeiro, right? And on the top of the hill, they have a big Jesus Christ figure, but they got rid of that like preemptively and put the World Cup trophy. Okay. So it's like, all right, well, we're going to avoid religion, but then in this stage, they put Buddhist monks, and they in a primarily Buddhist area of Thailand, and then they also put Islamic references, and it's like. All right, cool.
Flo, you just reminded me of something Flo said when I was talking to him. He said, like, I mean, look, let's not mess with, like, Flo probably knows a thing or two, right?
He's in NorCal, right?
I mean, he did the whole Capcom Pro Talk and all that sort of stuff. But so he probably has some insight, and he said he felt like a lot of things get lost in translation, like back and forth from the US to Japan and wherever else these things go for approvals and stuff. So, you know, we've already seen this. We've seen like the PSN store update with Ed live now, which is great. I'm going to be applying for that specific role to update that store, because I'm sure that will be available.
There's a job opening up there.
Yeah. New job opening. Job opening. Like, update the PSN store. No, I'm just fucking around. Mistakes happen. And it sucks when you've got so much going on, and there's, like, I don't think the team is very big, so I think when you've got so much going on, there's so many moving parts, it's so easy for something like that to just...
I guess so, yeah.
It sucks. But
the CPT pack. Or the new content coming out, rather. All these new costumes and things.
Alright, so let me say my piece on the CPT pack. I want to say this. I 100% want to support the players, right? So I'll buy it. I bought the last one. I actually bought plenty of tops and everything else that goes towards like pushing up the prize money for the players. Totally 100% support.
You bought those giant Ryu plush Hulk hands? Remember that?
Yeah, I bought those. I bought the Capcom hoodie, everything. Like, I'll buy this CPT probably as well. But, you know, it does irritate me a little bit that we don't get more back. Like, it's like, hey, if you care about the players, you should buy this. But here's what we're going to give you.
The Ken costume, the Ryu with the giant dragon growing out of the side of his... I mean... Fine, I just don't see that appealing to very many. And if it were, but like again,
and it's like
Alex or something
it's
like that.
We got new colors for you. Every character is going to be branded PlayStation
with
and Capcom.
our stuff.
It's like, oh, okay, cool. That sounds like that's awesome. Thank you. And there's like, and we're going to bring you a new esports arena. Don't give me an esports arena. Give me Hondas. Give me a classic stage. Like, give me. Damn it! God damn it! Just like.
Hey, you're gonna get.
I don't know, dude. Like, I basically, I think they get daily challenges as well.
There's like extra bonus challenges, so you can get more fight money. I think. I mean, and they did give us Thailand. They gave us Bison Stage, which is good. But yeah, I mean, I do agree that I think that they could have made this a little more enticing. Like at this point, if I buy that, which I did, but I did it for work and stuff. Like I'm not. As a player, I'm not motivated to get it because I want a Ken and a Ryu costume, or those Ken and Ryu costumes and stuff. Like I'm not really getting anything for my buck. I'm doing it to support the Pro Tour, to give NuckleDu more money next year when he wins.
30%? Is it 30%?
Well, yeah, I mean, the way it comes down to it, the way they word it, essentially 80% of everything goes toward the Capcom Pro Tour in one way or another. 30% goes to prize pots. At least 30% is what they say, which is odd. At least 30% goes to prize pools, and then another 50% goes to production value, whatever that means specifically. I don't know. It just says production on the CPT, and then that leaves, I guess, 20% to go into pockets, which is fair. But I do kind of wish I knew what that meant. Like, we're gonna put cool new laser pointers or surround sound. I don't know what. But
I wish they would do a pack for UX, like to fix the UX, the user experience, the loading times, the netcode, the replays, the way how dysfunctional that whole UX thing is. Like I said,
can 10% go towards making loading times faster, something like that, right?
10% to make the loading times 10% faster. Yeah. I just, I'll crowdfund it. Like, I will crowdfund it. Like, can we crowdfund the UX? Like, what does it take to get the UX fixed at this point?
Can
like,
can 20% of it go to our pockets? Because then I'm down.
Dude. Anyway, like, it's sort of like the good, the bad, the ugly with DLC. Definitely, there's some DLC which you're excited about and you want to buy, and then there's a part of me which sort of says, there's all this DLC, and the loading times are still like roughly the same.
That's the other thing. Like, I don't want a million new colors. That's cool, but give me that when there's not other glaring problems in my face that I'm much more worried about. Like it seems like there's a lot of effort that goes into all of these. Like, we have someone working on all these new colors and all this, that, and then this new these new costumes that we don't need. And it's like, it's cool, they're bonuses, but we have problems with the main engine right now.
The hardest working person at Capcom is the guy who churns out all the CFN stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff is amazing, because that's supposed to be canon, right? That's the first time. I swear that's supposed to be canon. It's like somebody is like literally making up the canon. They're just like, okay, this character is from Final Fight fucking 2 and is in the background. His name is Ted, and he likes sausages and fucking
the detail on those is crazy.
That shit is amazing. Anyway, enough, because we've got to move on. We've been recording for it's only 30 minutes. It's not too bad.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as my interviews that go on for like an hour. Let's talk about Marvel real quick, because I know you guys talked a little bit about it on Best of 5, but then the gameplay trailer came out, I think, afterwards, right? So we saw that. I'm not a big Marvel player, so I don't have a lot to say about it other than I'm interested. I talk to a lot of people, and the word on the street is the actual game itself is fun. And now that the gameplay has been seen, I think a lot of people are sort of saying, kind of looks like it's fun. Although there's a lot of pushback on a lot of different parts of what people have seen so far. What are your general thoughts?
Like, people are ready to complain already. I get that. I saw one post where someone was like, the meter bars at the bottom of the screen were not long enough, and I'm like, what? I fixed it. Hey, Capcom, fixed your game in MS Paint already. And I'm like, dude, it's not the size of the meter; it's how you use it. But seriously, like, people are already complaining about a game with leaked footage of it. Like, come on. As far as what we've seen so far, it looks great. And I mean, it's gonna take, once it comes out, how it actually comes out, how it actually plays, for us to have anything in concrete detail. But I think that it's going to be the next big thing. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see like a whole other Pro Tour wrapped around Marvel, things like that. It's going to be a huge game, and I actually think I'm wondering if it's going to cannibalize Street Fighter V a little bit. If Street Fighter V, being like the big main pillar, hasn't had to move at all because it's just because of its name. So even though it has all these issues with it, it's fine. With Marvel coming down the pike, once that comes out as another big pillar next to it, I don't know if it's going to be able to stand, and if players are going to jump ship and go over to Marvel or not. That's a whole other conversation. So, I say that, though, because I think it looks really good. I think it looks a competitor to Street Fighter.
Well, what they have, right, is an opportunity. So they've had a very recent experience with Street Fighter, right? So they have an opportunity to learn from those mistakes. Because there were a lot of... It was rushed, right? This does look a little rushed, you know, in the sense that it's already coming out in September, and I was quite surprised by that. But we don't know how long it's been in development for. We don't know how the game started. I suspect it actually started as a Capcom versus Capcom game. That's my guess. And then it became, once the Marvel license came back. Because I think they always wanted to have a... I imagine they planned a game to fill the Marvel void.
Of course, and the CV or the Marvel vs. Capcom name is so strong in and of itself. If you have the opportunity to do that, you do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I think they also needed something to, when the Marvel license went away, I think they also needed to fill that gameplay void, right? So I think they probably started the game out. This is my guess. They started the game out as a Capcom versus Capcom All Stars type of game, with just playing like
Mega
Marvel
Man
players.
and Chris Redfield versus
And then Marvel came in, and the opportunity suddenly arose where Marvel changed the way that they decided to think about games and gaming, and didn't want to do it themselves. It's kind of like my shorthand version of what happened. But the Marvel, they got the Marvel license and they could turn it into a Marvel game, which is great. It's exciting, and I'm excited by what I've seen. I do think some of the art direction is looking well, let's see what happens. Like,
I mean, F-Champ posted like footage of, or just an image of like the first time we saw Street Fighter V at Capcom Cup when Momochi won for Street Fighter 4. We saw Mike Ross and Combo Fiend play, and you compare that to where we actually got. It was very, very different. So to compare the graphics and whatnot now is just kind of, or to comment on them is kind of silly, I think.
No, you're right. I'm gonna bite my tongue on that completely. What I wanted to say, now I've remembered now what I wanted to say. You said it could cannibalize Street Fighter. I said the same thing a while ago. I said that it could be poised to be like the esports game, because esports is really America, right? Yeah,
I was going to say at least in America. Marvel 3 got, I think, arguably more popular than Street Fighter 4 at one point in America. And like worldwide, I think Street Fighter will hold up.
The people who follow it get really hype about it. People who aren't into fighting games get interested in it because it's Marvel, and they grown up with Marvel. And it's a brand which is like it's 1 billion times bigger than Street Fighter.
You're gonna get kids that like just saw the new Guardians of the Galaxy and Rocket Raccoon's their favorite character, and they're gonna see Rocket Raccoon on the new Marvel vs. Capcom and go, I want that game strictly because of that. How many more instances of that are gonna happen as opposed to Street Fighter V? A ton, and you're gonna have so many more people buying Marvel.
I mean, in a way, Marvel has always been, like when Marvel first came out, like back in the day, like it was always like that comic book thing where people would sit and talk about who would win a fight between the Hulk and Superman, or whatever, right? Like, I realize Superman is DC, but whatever. Like, that was always the comic book nerd conversation, right? And then there's a fighting game where it's like, oh, let's find out. And that's what I always thought was really intriguing about it. But what I was going to say is, if they get the netcode right, yeah, absolutely. Like, if they get the netcode right, absolutely. If they get the loading times right, absolutely.
I will say this, though. As much as it's going to be, and I think they most likely will get those things right, but I think that this is going to be an extremely simplified Marvel game in the inputs and stuff. If Street Fighter 4's direction is any indication, plus they've flat out said it, they want this to be a more well, I don't quote them right now because I don't remember off the top of my head, but the more casual experience. And a lot of people are already like doing one of these to it because they're like, like Chris G in his interview, he's like, I want to be able to do things that no one else can do. I want to be able to have these unique combos and sequences that not everyone can execute because they're hard to do. And I don't think that that's what we're going to get with Marvel. I think that this is an era of easy to get into, easy to play at a decently high level fighting games, which is new for fighting games. Fighting games are hard. They're hard as shit. That's why they haven't been as popular. And I think that as other genres, and I think that that's what Capcom is aiming at right now. They're going to make this easy to play. They're going to make it easy to do a lot of things. And again, just like Street Fighter V, you're going to need to be extremely good to be able to wade through all of the scrubs that are playing. But you're going to have more people playing. You're going to have little 7-year-old Johnny that got it just because Rocket Raccoon.
Hey, there was that 7-year-old kid. What's his name? The Marvel player who plays Hulk.
Oh, Noah?
Yeah.
He's got to be at least 10 now.
Yeah,
but yeah, no.
He's got to be at least 10. He's got to be at least 10 now.
It's probably like my age.
That kid is drinking now.
But no, I do think it's going to be very interesting to watch because, yes, this is going to be a platform. They have the platform of Street Fighter V and all the lessons learned there to jump off of with their launch and with their approach. I do think it's going to be dumbed down, I think, but it'll still be a tournament game. The top players will still emerge as the top players. But I do think where Street Fighter V kind of fell behind with getting that casual audience, I think Marvel's going to do a lot better of a job simply because it's set up to, because it's Marvel, because the general population is already plugged in. So it'll be a very interesting thing to watch.
I 100% agree with that. I'm excited to see it. As Chris G said, I don't know who I have to pray to, but I hope the netcode. That was my favorite bit when he said that. He was so funny. He's like, I don't know who I have to pray to, but like, can the netcode just be good? But yeah, one thing I wanted to add real quick was that I saw a tweet from Justin Wong who said, if you want to kind of get a head start on this game, because he's like played a billion. Obviously, we all know this, right? He's played a billion games, and whenever he sees a game and he plays a character, I seem to remember him saying once that he can often sort of almost immediately go, okay, this character is like this character I remember from the past, so I kind of understand this. That's his understanding of things. And what he said was this game looks a lot to him like Marvel, what's it called? Tatsunoko, I can never say it.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom?
Correct, yeah. I believe that's what he said. So
with Alex humping the giant.
I don't know.
The giant statue or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll send you the GIF later.
But I think he had. I look forward to that. I think he had said that you should try that game. I've never played it, so I don't know.
There is an All Stars for the Wii and for 360.
Yeah, there's one on the Wii, right? The Wii U.
The Wii is like
it's on the Wii U.
Generations ago.
I think it's on the Wii U.
Anyways, Tatsunoko versus Capcom. That's how you practice for this new Marvel, according to Justin Wong.
Yep. So last thing, DreamHack this weekend. So
we doing bets.
We're doing bets.
Good.
What are my bets? Okay. So if I win, you have to give me like a week's worth of Street Fighter lessons.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like an hour a day for 5 days.
You want to just like go on? There's not training mode on 5 though, right? Like you can't do joint training mode.
Yeah, we're just gonna fight each other, and you're gonna teach.
Oh yeah, I'll beat on you. Yeah, great. I'll throw this so I can beat on you for a week straight.
Yeah, but you have to make me better. That's
okay. Fair. Yeah, that's fine. I haven't thought about this. I didn't know we were gonna do this, so I didn't have a something planned. But to go along with what you're saying, if I win,
you're not gonna win.
There's no way I'm gonna go 0-3. Okay, I don't go 0-3. 0-2 every once in a while, once in a blue moon, but 0-3 that doesn't happen. You got lucky. Because you would have picked Knuckle Dew and I would have picked Punk if I had lost that coin toss. So.
Maybe.
But
maybe. You ready?
So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Something to do with your interviews. I don't know. Let me think about it while we do
well,
this.
the last bet that you gave was that I should ask people about your Gouken. I can still do that.
Yeah.
I can still do that the next time I'm doing interviews.
All right, fine. Unless I think of something better while we do this, but yeah, let's have that
You
as
want
the
me
stand-in.
to? You want me to ask somebody like a top player, like a really really top player, what they remember your Gouken and what did they think of it?
Yeah. What was your favorite thing about? Just opening myself to get blown up and things.
No, I think. Well, I mean, they will remember you as the best Gouken in America, surely.
Who was the better Gouken in the world, though? That's my question.
Oh, here we go! Look at it!
Nobody. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Who else did anything in tournament with Gouken? There were some guys that played online, and that was it.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't remember a guy called Infiltration at all.
Infiltration played Gouken for 10 minutes, like one time in one tournament.
And he was the best in the world.
Oh, get out of here!
No, you know what? I actually don't know, but there might be I'm sure in the comment section people will now tell us all of the brilliant,
all of the
brilliant Japanese Gouken players. Who did you watch? Who did you watch online? I bet you watched people online who were good with Gouken. Yeah.
No, I didn't. Nick used to send me Bullcat and Proud Strawberry videos, but like I didn't really watch all that much. It was mostly all my own stuff, like just me playing the game and trying to figure stuff out myself.
Fair enough. Well, you had a pretty sick Gouken, and I'm sure I'm sure an amazing player will remember. I'll give Takedo a script. I've said it before. Yes. Let's
pick our stupid top 8s.
I remember Tyrannosaurus Rex's Gouken. It was very good.
I'm not even. I'm all about myself and stuff. I'm totally not trying to.
Are you gonna flick a coin or what?
I found one. Okay, you want heads or tails?
Heads.
It's tails again, which I.
Fucking bullshit coin. I don't.
It's a dime this time. Okay, so I get to go first, and I'm gonna pick Razor Shin.
Okay. In which case I'm gonna take Punk.
Then I will take Knuckle Dew.
Ah!
Is that your Balrog?
Wait, is Fudo's not going, right?
I didn't see him.
Fudo's not going, but Daigo is. Daigo is rejuvenated.
Is he?
Is he? I don't know. Is he? That's the thing. Is he? Does he care? Does he only care about E-League? Does he care about this? Oh, there's Momochi Azabuki. Momochi.
Bon-chan.
Bon-chan the man. I'm gonna go with. Oh, Xiaohai.
Good call. I will go with. You took Momochi?
You know what? I shouldn't have picked Xiaohai because he's going to come out losers and he's in Punk's group. Fuck.
Yeah, you pit yourself against yourself already.
That was stupid.
You picked Momochi though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I will take.
I know who you're taking.
You know what? I got either Phenom or Gamer B. I'm gonna take Gamer B.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna take Haitani.
Haitani's not even there.
Yeah, he is.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Damn it. I hate you right now. I didn't know he was there.
That's silly. I sent it to you via message. It's right there. 4 and 4.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's see here. Then I'll take LPN because he's got that Bison and he's doing. No, you know what? Chris G. Haha, Chris G.
Chris G. I just don't know if Daigo is gonna if he turns up, he can totally do it. If he doesn't turn, you know what I mean by turn up, right?
Yeah, get drunk and high at the same time.
Oh God. And Ricky, what did Ricky switch to? I forget.
Cammy. But I think she was playing Chun-Li last tournament, so I don't know. Happy Medicine's back, and Happy Medicine's a Bison player, and we haven't seen him in 5 at all. But if he's like playing, he can do really well, especially with this Bison.
Why are you trying to sell me on Happy Medicine? Why are you trying to sell me on Happy Medicine's Bison when LPN has a Bison?
Commander Jesse double perfected Mago.
Well, actually, F-Champ's there, and he did very well at
not NCR because he was on mine.
He did well in Paris, right? And and Bonchan actually said Bonchan said F-Champ is really tough to play against as well, and he beat Punk. You know what? I'm gonna go with F-Champ.
Okay, I will take LPN.
Okay, that's a good choice.
Was this 7 and 7 so far? We have one more.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, you have 6, and I have 5.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I'll take Daigo. Why not?
I will take Phenom.
Ah, you know what? I forgot about Phenom. Yeah, that's
good.
That's a good.
I'll trade you a Phenom for a Haitani.
No.
All right. Same.
Well, no. I think Haitani. I don't know. They're both good. Oh, I'm gonna take Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Okay, so this is your last pick.
Well, my last pick, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, I would take Dogura,
Yeah.
but he's in the bracket with LPN.
So they can both come out. But
Yeah, but then I got a guy in losers already. I think I'm gonna do Yukadon. He hasn't been doing too hot lately, but
Who does he play?
well, he did play Nash. I don't know if he switched it up.
No, he did switch. He definitely switched. He's.
I don't know. I'm picking the player, not the character.
Bonchan's the only person who stuck with Nash. Okay, so there's a bunch of strong Americans. Like there's Ricky, there's Justin, there's K-Brad. Commander Jesse always seems to do well at Wednesday night fights.
Commander Jesse usually places like top 16 when he does well at these kind of big tournaments, which is really good. But
Alucard is playing boxer at the moment, I think.
there's still that Happy Medicine Balrog if you wanted that one. It's still there.
No, I don't want Happy Medicine. Although he's probably going to win it now.
Brian F. He plays Balrog. That's a free win. You also took Snake Eyes and Momochi both in the same pool.
Yeah,
I like my chances.
Not too worried about pools. This is such a light tournament. I don't know. Maybe I'm not being smart.
There's Kelvin, Shinchang.
Justin.
You can take Marn.
Marn is Ibuki now, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Marn is. Justin's group doesn't look too hard.
He's got Oil King in there.
I don't know much about Oil.
I think he's a I forget.
I mean,
he did really well at EVO.
I know he's sponsored by Zowie. I actually kind of like. I'm gonna go for Justin. Hell yeah. I'm gonna go for Justin. Alright, so I have Punk, Momochi, Zhao Hai, Haitani, F-Champ, Daigo, Snake Eyes, and Justin. And you have Xian, Nakodu, Bonchan, Gamerby, Chris G, LPN, Phenom, and Yukadon.
Well, we'll see, huh?
So we'll see.
And then I guess we'll encourage. I'll do this when we post this up on Event Hubs. I'll do the same challenge.
And let's see if AshleySchaferBMW and Riku157 can retain
their bragging rights.
Retain their titles. Yeah, why not? Let's do this. And that's almost an hour of us talking rubbish.
Dude, if you lose, you have to let me interview you at the next major that we're both at, because I'm going to be traveling now, so we're bound to hit a major together. You have to let me interview you with any questions that I want to ask, and you got to answer them.
That sounds like a trap, to be honest, but okay.
What do you mean how?
Because you're gonna make some dumbass questions, like 20 dumbass questions.
I'm gonna make some great questions, and you're gonna have to edit it all together and post it up on your YouTube.
Oh,
channel.
if I'm in control of the edit, then we're good. We're all good.
And you can't edit any out.
That doesn't make any sense.
Unless I give you the okay.
That's not an edit. Alright, yeah, fine. I mean, fine. If that's what you want to do.
It doesn't matter, right? I'm gonna go 0-3.
But I thought you wanted me to like ask the players about your Gouken.
No, I'm not. I don't care about that really. That was just what I came up off the top of my head, and I don't give a crap. I want to have a cool interview with you, where I get to interview you and ask questions to you, and you have to sit in the hot seat. Plus, I think that people want to see Born Free on the other side of the microphone.
Okay. Okie dokie. I actually have done a few interviews, but no one noticed.
They want to see you now.
No. Well, I mean,
I'll get an English translator that can can figure out what it is.
Yeah. We'll do that. I'll get an English translator. Although I have to tell you, it's tough to find a translator. It's really tough. That's the hardest part. Unless you got dollar bills. All right. So we'll see. And I'm really excited to get my 5-hour-long Street Fighter lessons. And is 0-3 a thing? That doesn't sound like a thing in fighting games.
If you have an 0-2 tournament, then you can go 0-3.
0-3, okay. So looking forward to that. That'll be fun. No, I'm excited about this tournament and getting some interviews actually this weekend. Although it's going to be interesting because it's DreamHack and it's like Street Fighter is going to be such a tiny part of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be really bizarre, you know? But we'll see. Anyway, let's finish up unless you have anything to add.
Nope, just that you're going down, bitch.
Alright, cool. So everybody out there, good luck on Event Hubs. And I actually want to hear from people about if anybody made it this far. That one guy who made it to the end of this video.
Watched all the way.
Yeah, the one guy. That one guy. You, that one guy. I'm talking to you. Let me know what you think Ed's playstyle is going to be like. Although I bet a fucking trailer will drop like tomorrow anyway. But it would be interesting to hear people's perspective on how they think Ed is going to play and if they're excited. So let's call it a day and say goodbye to everybody. So goodbye everybody.